numbers by being
Surprise,
aggressive and Hey guys, Worm here again, and today I kind of wanted to do a tank review on the STA-1, which is the tier 8 Japanese medium tank, and I've decided to start going up this line since the STB-1, it just looks like an amazing tier 10 medium, and I really want to get that tank. And I'm going to showcase you two battles here today. Kind of like a little bit of a tank review and my thoughts on the STA-1. But the STB-1, I would definitely, I mean, I'm trying to get up the tank, and I think it's one of the best tier 10 mediums in the game. So I would say that it's, so far it's been worth the grind. The tier 7 hasn't been too bad. This tank so far hasn't been too bad either. And we'll also go into some of the statistics later on. And I have a pretty cracking result here in a tier 8 game, and then I'll have another battle where I'm bottom tier. So initially, just trying to take some shots of these light tanks and mediums, the even 90, and I mean there's 4 light tanks on both sides, so there's a lot of spots early on in this game. And this battle, really I'm going to showcase probably the biggest strength of this tank, which is the DPM. This tank has the highest DPM out of all the standard medium tanks at tier 8, which is the biggest strength of this tank, really. The gun also has decent gun handling, but the alpha damage is kind of low. You do sacrifice a little bit of the alpha damage to get such high DPM. So that's one thing to note about this tank. You really have to play more of like a sniping support role, since you don't have any armor, and you should definitely not be front lines. You notice that like I'm not even front lines, and this is a tier 8, tier 7 game where I'm top tier. So just note that the playstyle of this tank, and the enemies have decided to push down the 9-0 line pretty aggressively, and here I'm telling our AMX to fall back with the new feature of that kind of allows you to communicate a little bit better with your team. So unfortunately don't give enough lead to that Black Prince, get lit again, and then here I realize that we really have to fall back here. The enemies have sent 3 tier 8 tanks to this side of the map, and so yeah, I take a shot there from the STA-1. Luckily, I don't take any more damage, and I immediately try to go to this K0 position. It's very, very strong position to defend, and I'm not sure why Wargaming still has this position here. And I'm gonna showcase something that I kind of didn't realize that you could do in this position. Especially since the enemies are going to be very aggressive on this flank. And so just getting perched up here, getting a nice sniping shot into that bat chat, roll for over average. This tank on average has 240 alpha damage with 219 millimeters of penetration, which is actually pretty decent. I briefly switched to heat, but then I realized I can easily penetrate this Black Prince with standard rounds, so no real need to switch. And then now the Black Prince is a one-shot, so I really want to finish him off. So load a heat round, and it's funny, the heat round's the one that doesn't penetrate, which is kind of funny. And then I immediately switch back to AP since I'm shooting at lightly armored tanks, and now this is looking very hairy. We have 4 tanks, it was 5, kind of hunting down me in my position, and this ST1, the enemy STA-1, has decided to push very aggressively, and I think I should have probably focused him down a little bit earlier, because now it's just very awkward because he's just gonna proxy light me the whole time. And so I really don't want to give up this position yet. And luckily we're above the enemy STA-1, so although this tank does get a very nice 10 degrees, I don't have enough gun depression to even shoot at this STA-1. And here I kind of realize I'm trying to call for help, and then I realize like I'm not getting shot by anyone in the side, right? So I'm thinking, I might be able to actually like shoot these guys like the Progetto. So I back up a little bit, take a shot at him, and then I immediately turn to the STA-1, see if he's gonna come. And that's one thing about this tank is the reload's actually really quick, and so therefore it has very high DPM, and I'm able to shoot at the Progetto as well as have enough time to turn around to face this STA-1, and I'll be reloaded by the time he makes his way up this hill, right? The Challenger pushes forward a little bit more, gets a shot into me, and then I return fire at him. And I'm just trying to buy my team some time so this KV-4 and this AMX can come support me, right? I just want to buy as much time as possible and just be a nuisance. And here, me and this STA-1 are just trading. I'm fine trading right now because our teams are pretty close, and then finally I decide, all right, I'm just gonna try to run, and then I kind of crash. But luckily I was able to stall them enough that our team was able to essentially win the game, right? The rest of our team won the other flank, and now it's all about just the rest of our team cleaning up, right? So that's the first game. And I'll quickly show, we can just speed past this, but essentially at the end of this battle, our teammates just cleaned it up. So yeah, that's the end of this first battle. And let me show you the tank comparison so you guys can see what I'm talking about, the DPM and the gun. So alright, hey guys, here I have the tank comparison for pretty much all the standard medium tanks at tier 8, and immediately right off the bat you can see that the STA-1 has the highest DPM out of all the tier 8 mediums, which is really nice. And I don't think any of these other tanks could have carried that situation that I had in the previous battle, just because the reloads on the other tanks are just a little bit longer, right? And then as well as having 10 degrees of gun depression is amazing. So that's one really good thing about this gun is the shell velocity and the reload, and thus the DPM, right? One of the weaknesses of this tank, and I mean I think it's just the case with all tier 8 mediums, is the alpha damage of 240 is just kind of low. Whereas if you use like the UDES or the TVP, they have higher alpha damage, which can allow for better trading in certain situations, right? 2.11 seconds aim time, which is amazing. Only the T44-100. I think this is the reason why I have the T44-100 here is because the T44 has the 122mm, which is not the optimal loadout you want on that tank. And it actually has pretty okay, decent dispersion values. So you can occasionally snapshot, but with this 2.11 seconds aim time, it's pretty quick to aim in. And then another really great thing is 10 degrees of gun depression, and that's why I think that this tank is very flexible and is very capable in the right hands. One of the bigger weaknesses of this tank is the actual top speed of 45 is lower than all the other tier 8 mediums, which can definitely hamper this tank's flexibility in a little bit. Being able to get into position quickly and take the key positions at the beginning of the battle. So that's definitely a pretty big negative. And then virtually no armor to be said on this tank. So that's why I say in this tank you really can't be front lines or take a lot of hits because you're just not going to bounce anything. The camo's actually pretty good on this tank, so you can do you can be more of a passive scout and have that role, which I'll show you in the next replay, a little bit of that. So yeah, on paper STA-1 pretty good. In reality, it's actually it plays pretty similarly too. It has a really great gun, really great DPM, so definitely utilize that. And it does have the ability to shoot its way out of situations, but you will take a lot of damage since it has no armor. So let me get into the second replay. Alright, hey guys. Here's replay number 2, and we're in a bottom tier matchup here. And this is a tier 9 game here on Corellia. As we look at the team lists, we have me and the Renegade are pretty strong players in our tier 8, so we might have to have a big impact. And I immediately try to use this system of pinging where I'm going, just to give my teams a heads up. So I decide that I'm not fast enough. Like we just saw that the STA-1 is the slowest tier 8 medium, so I won't be able to get to this hill position quick enough. I think if this tank could go 50 or 55, I would definitely try to go to that position since it's such a key position. But since this tank is not as mobile, and we'll see by the time we get over here, there'll be another tank there even before we are. So the Walker Bulldog gets spotted early on in this battle, and I definitely want to try to focus him down, take out the enemy's view range and vision. That will be very important, especially in the mid to late game. That's why I think it's very important for light tank drivers to really preserve their HP and not just go out and try to, sue a scout and spot the whole team at the beginning. It's important to try to get into position quickly, but not at the cost of your HP, because light tanks are so powerful in the late game. So that's another thing, is a very good thing you should definitely take into account when you want to try to win more of your battles and get better as a player. So we get to here, and I was very caught off guard by this T-44, that he was able to get to this position so quickly. And so the T-44 actually has pretty good DPM as well, so not a very good trade. I'm trading 1-for-1, but since the Renegade's with me, I want to help him take down this T-44 as quickly as possible, so then we can, since we 2v1 them, we can 2v1 this 50 TP, right? So just trying to take advantage of their team being fragmented and then not working as a team as well. So I want to try to be a harasser, try to take the track off the 50 TP, he repairs, and then get the kill shot on him. Right, so that was a really great result there. We were able to take out 2 of our opposite numbers by being aggressive and working as a team. There, unfortunately, I kind of panicked there. Was not expecting that ISU to be there, and then take a bad shot aiming at his mantlet. Should have aimed a little bit more to the right or to the left. Those are the weaknesses on that tank, and I know I don't want to, frontally brawl against an ISU. I want to see if I can play my medium tank to its advantage, which is having a turret, having flexibility, trying to flank around. So that's why I left that position. I don't want to, if me and the Renegade are there, it applies more pressure on us to take the initiative and push through that area, and it just we play into the ISU's hands, right? Him being a non-turreted tank destroyer. So I get the flank, and I fully aimed that shot, but unfortunately it went high and ricochets off the top casement, and I actually get spotted. And I'm not sure why this STRV decides to ram. And then I think I briefly saw the Ferdinand, so I just take a blind shot there. you know, I reload pretty quickly. I think it reloads in like 6 seconds, so you might as well just take that shot there. It'll be reloaded soon anyways. And here's sort of like the mid game here, where we've definitely established control over the middle of the map, but there still is a Ferdinand at their base, right? And he has a very potent 490 alpha damage gun, so he can one-shot me. So I don't want to, you know, go out kind of like that Sturv did and get one-shotted, right? So I decide against that, and I'm noticing on the map that our tortoise hasn't even really gotten to position. So really, I think that this side is may or may not fall. So I'm kind of worried because of the tortoise's positioning. I'm thinking that he's not the best of players, even though his stats say, you know, he's a little bit above average. Just the way he's been playing this game, you know, he hasn't been playing as aggressively as I would hope a tortoise in a top tier matchup would like to play, or would play, right? And I get lit here, so I'm assuming that there's a tank up here who spotted me, right? It's very unlikely that a tank here would have spotted me then, because I already crossed from over here. So it's most likely going to be a tank up here, and I decide to, you know, try to get below the ridge here and get under his gun line so he doesn't have enough gun depression, and lo and behold, it's the Sturv. And I'm really scared here because if he rolls high, he can one-shot me, so I'm just trying to spot for my team. And we have a bunch of, you know, people who are you know, sniping in the back, so try to get their guns into the fight and make sure they're being more useful. And then here I'm also still paranoid because there potentially could be 3 tanks up here, so I want to be, you know, careful when I push up here. I don't want to get 2v1'd. And then here I spot the Pantera. I tried to go for the track there, since if he could get up there and unload his 2 shots, he would kill me. So luckily our teammates in the back finish him off, and we get some nice assistance. So that was a great result. And now this is just the end game, cleaning up and kind of the farming stage. And you know, it's very important when you go here, you have to check this bush up here, because there's typically a TD that likes to sit there. So that's why I blind fired that bush. I don't get spotted. I'm just making a note of when my sixth sense goes off. So slowly turning around here, seeing if my sixth sense goes off. Doesn't go off, which is actually really surprising that it doesn't go off here. I would have thought that my sixth sense would go off. And again, trying to hug this ridge or this rock formation here, just trying to you know, provide the smallest profile for anyone to be able to snipe me from the back here. And then this is why I was very surprised I didn't get spotted turning this corner here, since the T-30 probably just didn't push around that corner far enough, which is one thing you have to be aware of, is making sure that you have a good line of view, even if you're, you know, in a camping position and you're just waiting. Because what he could have done when there was camp that position, killed me, and then by the time anyone else pushed, like, he would have been reloaded by here, and he would have easily been able to get 2 shots instead of only getting 1 shot at the end of the battle, right? So just making sure that you have a good line of fire. And then here, luckily the Ferdinand misses, and the shot goes over us, and I think we get 1 more shot here. Yeah, and we finish with 2,000 damage. So pretty great result here, even though, you know, we were bottom tier. And that's one thing, and we definitely got a lot of spotting, so that kind of shows the other strength that you have to utilize with this tank, is in your bottom tier matchups, and even sometimes in your top tier matchups, you really need to utilize the good view range you can get, especially with coated optics. You can get to 445, as well as flanking around and not being the one taking all the damage. So let's take a look at the post-game stats for both these battles. All right, so here was the first battle, and it was on steps, and it was a second class. We got the Confederate battle as well as the high caliber, and we were able to do 3,500 damage Top on our team on experience for 1044, and 430 object 252U did the best on their team. And really we were able to kind of just defend for as long as possible until we got taken out the end. And 25 shots fired, 17 direct hits, 16 penetrations, so very good marksmanship with this tank, and that kind of shows the excellent gun stats that you have on this tank. And most of it was from long range, right? You definitely don't have any armor, so you shouldn't really be brawling with this tank. And again, only one shot was blocked, and only 554 assistance, which is kind of surprising. I guess you know, our team rates really, we weren't spotting for our team necessarily. I think our teammates kind of were just spotting for themselves, and 1600 experience in a 7-minute battle, so not too shabby. And then in our second game, it was a first class, probably because we were shooting at higher tier tanks, and we also got a lot of assistance this game. 2,999, or not 999, 2,099 damage and 1,100 base experience. You know, top of the team on experience, and then fourth on the team for damage. We can see 19 shots fired, 14 direct hits, 10 penetrations. So we were using our gun less, but we also had 1,800 assistance, right? So just trying to utilize our flanking, as well as going to the middle and spotting the enemies. So kind of just pushing the battle in that way, not directly using our gun. And just being smart with positioning really helped us with this battle. 25,000 credits made, and almost 8-minute battle. So, you know, these are the kind of results that you can definitely get in the STA-1. And I think when I first started playing this tank, I really struggled. The thing is, for researching, definitely focus on researching the gun, and then researching the engine, because the stock engine is just very atrociously slow. So those would definitely be my priorities. The gun, and then the engine. You could even make an argument to get the engine before the gun. It's really just that bad. I think if you don't have mobility, it just really hampers this tank, because you can't brawl, and flexibility is really the name of the game with this tank. So let me know your thoughts on the STA-1, as well as how it compares to the other tier 8 mediums. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. And let me know what kind of content you want to see. So thanks again, guys. I'm out.